Hey, Judy. Well, I don't work on Fridays. I work 4 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday. And then Friday and Saturday, I do my side business, my landscaping. And I just got done doing a leaf job. And I was just, yesterday I was talking about things are going on as usual as far as the virus goes. Well, yesterday things were going on as usual until today. I read news that the governor made up new laws or rules or whatever you want to call it, regulations, setting a curfew starting Sunday from I forgot what it was, 11 at night to 5 a.m., something like that, a curfew. And no more than 10 people in a space, all that stuff. But he did say something that I agree with, and by no means am I endorsing Governor Northam. By no means do I endorse him. But he did say something coming out of that liberal mind of his. He did say something that I 100% agree with. And that was, I don't know the exact quote, but it was pretty close to that you do not have to sit in church. You don't have to sit in a church pew for God to hear your prayers. And he was saying that as in churches with big congregations to not gather and to not be disobedient to his no more than 10 people in a space rule. And he's right. You do not have to be sitting in a church pew for God to hear your prayers. I agree with that 100%. What's up, Jackson? Yeah, I'm not leaving work right now. I'm leaving a leaf job I was doing on the side because, like I was telling Judy, I just work 4 days a week. I work 4 10s. But I was just going over. I said yesterday that in Virginia everything was as business as usual with the COVID thing, and it's not. It's actually starting to have curfews and stuff like that, which is fine. I mean, if you're going to work and stuff, you're allowed to go out. And I work all hours of the day, especially when I'm on call, so I can, go to and fro during the curfew if I'm having to go to work. But anyhow, Governor Northam was right that you don't have to be sitting exactly in a church pew for God to hear your prayers. That is tremendous. And that's true, because a lot of people are just cultural Christians. They go to church on Sunday, or if you're a Second-day Adventist, you go to church on a Saturday. And you go through the motions. You play church. You go through the motions. And where their Sunday's best, they sit there and nod off half asleep, in and out of coherency throughout the motivational speech that the fine-dressed pastor gives behind the pulpit. And then they go live like hell the rest of the week and do whatever they want to do that pleases them and not God. So church is a band. They've done fornication, drunkenness, idolatry, whatever they've done throughout the week, to them, church will take care of it all, especially if you're Catholic. You just go behind that little curtain, right, and repent of your sins, eh? Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. There are very few authentic, genuine, God-fearing people in this world, worldwide, not just the state you live in, worldwide. And People are saying it's persecution against the church, lowering the number. No, it's not. No, it's not. The church in the New Testament, the verse, you know the verse, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there amongst them. Depending on what version of the Bible you're reading. 2 or 3 are gathered right here together now. Jackson, Judy, and somebody else that's lurking in the shadows. But if y'all want to ask me a question or anything, now's the time to do it. I'll be glad to talk. That's why I'm doing this, just to chit chat a little bit and things like that. I'm working over in South Roanoke, Judy, and I'm trying to force myself to go down a road that'll show the star, because I know you've been wanting to see pictures of that. And I think we may have a view of it here in just a second. Of the Mill Mountain Star. Look, church on every street corner. There's one. And there's 2 up this block, but I'm not going to go up there because I'm trying to find the star right now. I'm at the bottom of the mountain. It should be right here. There's another church. I went 1 block, 2 blocks, and here's another church. Denominations everywhere. Right there, that's a big one. That's where my sister goes, my oldest sister. That's a Presbyterian church. There's the star, I think. No, it's not. We'll see it here in a second. Yes, Judy. It's a Presbyterian church. It used to be, I think, PCA. But last year they switched their denomination to, I think it's called First Evangelical Presbyterian, because they had a split over the gay marriage thing. And PCUSA, they're all into that. They're all into it. No, but what are you going to do while you're retired, Jackson? What are you planning on doing with your time, bud? Well, they believe it's okay, Judy, because there's a doctrine for everybody. They alter the Bible. They alter the scriptures. They think the Old Testament is not relevant. They think it's not relevant. All right, there's the star, Judy, right here. Still can't see it. Well, that's the mountain. It must not be on. Huh? It's not on. No, it's not on. That's where it's at, where that red tower is. It's not on. Sorry. Oh yeah, it is. We're kind of catty-cornered from it. There it is. Can't really zoom in. I'm trying to drive. So how's the health situation where you're at, JD? How's it going? Are there massive deaths everywhere, like they say? There are. Hey, Pastor Dickens. You know, I wanted to say something too yesterday when I was talking about, when I went by that Catholic church yesterday and I was talking about heaven and earth. By no means was that a full hermeneutic of the heaven and earth theology. No, it would take hundreds of hours to explain that. I was just giving an example how the folks in the Old Testament viewed it. It wasn't called the temple, it was the tabernacle. It was where God was in the tabernacle. They were on earth. And when you get to the New Testament, heaven and earth, well, and I'm going to cover all this. When I get done with Amos, I'm going to cover all this extensively, what I'm getting from the Bible. I mean, there's so many different presuppositions on it. Ever since scholarship and seminaries, and there's so many spin-offs. If everybody had the Spirit, wouldn't they be preaching or speaking the same doctrine? Wouldn't it be the same? If all these people had the Spirit within them, wouldn't it be the same doctrine? Why are there so many spin-offs? Why do these seminaries for Baptists and Presbyterians and Episcopalians and Lutherans and Primitive Baptists, why are they all so different and they disagree on so many things? Well, I think it's because I think as the years go on, as the generations further themselves into history, they make the scriptures cater to their environment. They make the scriptures germinate up into the culture of their time. See? What's relevant to them. You know, what the Bible is saying about certain things, you could word it and you could take it as pertaining to today, like fire and brimstone and all that. You know, there's people talking about the meteors, the uptick in these meteor showers is fire and brimstone coming down from heaven. You know, I mean, come on. You can make the Bible say whatever you want it to say, and that's what's really tricky about it, and that's why it's important to be studious in that word. Because you can listen to somebody that's charismatic and just sounds so good, such a great orator, and they sound very convincing, and you'll end up believing what he's saying. And come to find out, this particular person might be reading right out of the Schofield Reference Bible, you know, where he talks about tour buses and airplanes. There's going to be unmanned airplanes floating at their own dismay because they're unmanned, because the pilot or the driver or the conductor was raptured. I mean, that's crazy. Left behind, they call it. And I tell you, if you go back into the archives, if you go back into the catalog of all the predictions that the likes of Jack Van Impe and what's something like that, listen to all the false predictions he said, because he's tying the Bible up into today, what he thinks today things are going on, Gog and Magog and all that. No, I don't know about all that. Yeah, I'm sure, Judy, those movies were very confusing. It's called entertainment. Religious entertainment. And that's what a lot of these pastors are. Religious entertainment. I wish they all could be genuine and raw like Pastor Dickens here. He don't sugarcoat nothing. He tells you like it is. He tells you as it is. What the scriptures say and what they said then and what's relevant to today. Because a lot of it is relevant to today. Like all the scriptures on how to bear the fruit of the Spirit. Those things are surely relative today. And all the character and all the mistakes and the consequences for those mistakes that the apostles, slipped up and did. Like Peter, for instance. We learn from those things. We learn from their experiences. We're reading someone else's mail, like Paul writing to the church in Thessalonica and the church in Corinth. Those old rusty, make your own way church congregants in Corinth. And that pertains to us today, what Paul was saying to them, because the world is the same way. We want to be righteous. We want to be religious. We want to look the part. But when nobody's looking, when we're comfortable around who we're around, we live hell off the cross. It's because you let that world into your mind. You let this materialism into your little world, into your spirit. Yep. Judy, yeah, I'm glad you straightened it out too. And I thought I was straightened out 10 years ago. And no, I was not. No, I was not. I've been through the dispensationalism and the Arminianism and, because it all sounded so good. And I referenced back, I don't think I ever told you guys this, but I'm not somebody that has dreams and this is going to happen and all that nonsense. Well, it's not nonsense. There may be, I don't want to offend anybody, but oh well. I'm not one of those people that get dreams like that and those dreams come to fruition. But I do recall. When I was 12 years old, I was reading in, what book was it? I know it was Revelation. I was reading in Revelation when I was 12 years old, and I cannot believe this. Like I told Pastor, I feel naked without my Bible. It's an appendage of me. It's like losing my arm. I was reading Revelation, and it might have been Jude. Might have been the little powerful book of Jude. But anyway, I was reading it because something, what I was hearing in Bible school made me want to read in Revelation, because there was a little lesson on Revelation about the new heavens and new earth, and I was reading it, and I was at 12 years old. I was like, wow, this is the revelation of Jesus Christ. Okay. John in exile in Patmos with his parchment and ink writing this to 7 churches. And it was clear it was written to the Jewish church congregants of these particular 7 churches. But the way that I was told it in Bible school was, it was written to our church. It was written to our community. It was written to the world now. Well, in a sense, I knew then, yes, it was written to the forever and into the future for people. But strictly and adamantly to those 7 churches. I figured, I knew that. But I fought that. I fought it all through adulthood. I'm 45 now. This is through my 20s and 30s. I believed all this stuff that other people said. like your Van Impe's and your Hagees and all that. Actually, I'm pulling up to my church now. I'm going to take the trash out so I don't have to do it this weekend before service Sunday, if we even have it. Because there's been some people with COVID. A couple of older folks got COVID here. And pastor canceled service, and I disagree with that 100%. This pastor's rather new. This is his second year here, but the first pastor we had would cancel church for snow, and I would always tell him, why would you cancel service for snow? If you can make it, if your hind end can make it in to service in the snow to that pulpit, even if one person shows up, you need to haul your hindquarters there and preach. And I used to go round about that on him, because I told him I'd be there. I'll be there if it's just one person. Don't close that church on Sunday just because of inclement weather. Get there. All the firemen, all the police, all the essential workers get around and do what they've got to do in the snow. Well, you're essential. If you're a pastor, you are essential. You get off your lazy hind end and get to church. Anyway, this new pastor canceled it because of COVID. I didn't say anything, but I wanted to. I wanted to tell him, look, if other people are not spooked off by it and want to attend, you should still fill the pulpit and let them attend. Well, I hope he don't hear this, but if he does, oh well. Pastor's gotten a little bit lazy because he says we can just YouTube live stream it, have service that way. Well, some people like to go to church and be in the church for the fellowship. Maybe if nobody's there, maybe it's one family there that could make it in, that wasn't spooked by the virus, that could make it in, doing their 6-foot distance and appropriately wearing their mask. Maybe they like the fellowship, to sing hymns together, no matter how voluminous it is, with no organ or whatever, who cares? It's the fellowship of it. So I wouldn't cancel. If I was a pastor of a church, no sir. If one person showed up, I'd be open for business. Not business as in bring your ties. I mean open for business. It's open for business. It'll be open for people. But anyway, what I was saying, I'm getting so off track because I'm not doing a lesson. I'm so used to doing Amos and just being in that book. I've been in it for months now, and I've been living in Amos, and nothing else is really on my mind but that, in the context it's in. But what I was saying about the heaven and earth. In the New Testament, the heavens and the earth, the new heavens and the new earth, well, back in the Old Testament time, like I said, the tabernacle, that's where God resided, was in heaven. That's where God resided, so they went to go reside with God in the tabernacle. Well, in the New Testament now, all of a sudden, Jesus, he dwells in a temple not made with hands, not crafted together like Bezalel in the Old Testament, and I think it was Exodus, when he was the craftsman of the Ark of the Covenant, the craftsman of all that. Jesus dwells in a temple not made with hands, and that temple was going away. That heaven where they met God in the Old Testament tabernacle, in that transition from the Old Covenant to the New Covenant, called the temple, would be no more. The heavens would be no more. That temple, heavens and earth, out in their world, the world then, which didn't include America, didn't include what they say is Mystery Babylon being New York City. Come on, we know who Mystery Babylon was. Where were the prophets slaughtered? But anyway, I just wanted to make that clear, that I did not by any means give a full understanding of that heaven and earth thing. That just happened to come across while I was driving home yesterday, and it just, I don't know. I just did it. I just drove up there and did it and said it. I don't know. Just off the cuff. Sometimes when you're off the cuff, it's a little, I mean, y'all hear it in my lessons all the time. It gets a little, I don't know what you call it. It gets a little, off track. But anyhow, I'm gonna wrap my day up here. See you, Pastor. You're not the old. Oh. Judy, have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Jackson, have a good weekend. Pastor Dickens, have a wonderful weekend. Do y'all want to ask me any questions before I leave? I don't care what it is. It can be Bible-based, it can be personal, whatever. But you guys do agree, though, what the governor of Virginia said. You don't have to be sitting in a church pew in order for God to hear your prayers. That's powerful. I applaud him for saying that. But I do not endorse him. No, sir. All right, then. Till next time.